All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Money Goddess podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Bridges, and we have an amazing special guest today, Jaelyn Brunson. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me, my love.
Of course, of course. I'm so excited. And just to give you guys a background about Jaelyn, she is a celebrity goddess coach from Maryland. She's currently residing in Florida. Over the years, she's helped 3,000 students, one of them including myself, and over 400,000 subscribers create powerful transformations in their lives. Jaelyn helps women get rich, seductive, and magnetic with feminine energy. So, look, let's give it. Let's get it. I'm so excited to hear everything.
Yeah, so much. I appreciate that acknowledgement. And yes, that's what I love to do. I love to help people in general, specifically women most of the time, just connect deeper to their power and their essence. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yes, I love it. So, if you don't mind, kind of tell us like what led you to being a goddess coach and what was your journey like? Because I'm sure like you didn't wake up this amazing. Like I'm sure you had so many things happen
Yeah.
and you transform your own life, I'm sure.
Right, right. Oh my gosh, this question is always, it's so interesting because it's so layered, but I would say, I think actually when I was younger, I was very in tune with my goddess energy.
Mhm.
I was naturally, I think we all are. When we're kids, I feel like a lot of us were connected to our natural sense of magic, our natural sense of understanding the metaphysical realm. We're dreamers. It's like we understand the possibilities of what's true a lot likely. And then when we kind of go on the path of life and we have experiences and we have traumas and we have hurts and we have pains, and some of us even have generational things that happen and get passed down to us, we lose that sense of wonder. We lose that sense of lightness and openness to the possibilities. And when we talk about feminine energy and goddess energy, it's very emotionally fluid. It's open. It's not held down. It's vast. It's big. It's desire heavy, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it was just a path of looking at the aspects of myself that I kind of suppressed and opening them back up. And, there's definitely certain experiences in my life that caused me to just kind of like shut down and close my heart. Even like I'm feeling right now, like closing my voice was a huge point of that, where it's just like, whether it was like my breakup, my own personal sexual trauma, my own generational trauma, right? And looking at like, especially my maternal lineage and all the things that they went through, and just all the things that really impacted my sense of self-worth. I had to bring it all up to the surface and be
Mhm.
like, yep, I see you. I'm here with you. I'm present with you. I love you. I accept you. And for example, one of the times where I really came to that place was when I would say when I was in Los Angeles. And oh my gosh, I was in a crazy relationship where it was toxic. No one really knows about this, but yeah, it was a toxic relationship.
Mhm.
I was being cheated on. The guy was getting people pregnant and just all this stuff. And, at the time, my YouTube career, it was kind of going down the drain. My views were kind of going down. And I didn't feel connected to anyone, and I was just, like, so disconnected from, it seemed like everything good in my life.
Mhm.
I just kind of felt so lost, and I'm like, "I don't know what to do." It got so bad to the point where I felt like I was being attacked on all levels. It felt like spiritually, my dreams were bad. I woke up, I didn't have energy, my vitality was gone, my sense of
Mhm.
worthiness was gone, my orgasmic potential was gone. I felt numb in my relationship sector. It felt like, obviously, I was like, why am I putting myself through this? But I can't leave. And then at the same time, my finances and my career was just like tank, because it was all a representation of what was happening within.
Mhm.
And like I
Mhm.
said, one day, I'm not gonna lie, like trigger warning, it got so bad, like I didn't want to be here. I did not want to be here. I didn't want to be present. And I literally kept on coming closer and closer to, I feel like, death. Like it felt
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, like I can't continue living life like this. And
Yeah, yeah.
from battling addiction and stuff like that, one time I ended up in the hospital. And
Wow.
I remember just being like, I just, it was like we had to go into this like Uber to get to the hospital.
Yeah.
And my friend was there and everything. I remember the Uber driver was just saying stuff and he was just like, you know, God is so great. Spirituality is so good. And like it was just a really up leveling conversation.
Yeah.
And I thought of that moment. I was like, oh, I'm about to die. Like, because I'm oh, he's about to like, you know how God comes in at the right time. So I'm like,
Right, right.
oh, I'm about to die. So then I get to the hospital and I just remember closing my eyes and they have all the things on me and stuff like that. And I'm just like, it just dawned on me. I was just like, I can't continue living my life like this.
Yeah.
I just cannot continue living my life like this. And it was a wake up call. Once I got out of there, I was kind of just like, I don't know how I'm going to find this feeling of self-worth, this
Yeah.
feeling of happiness, this feeling of joy, but I'm determined to get there. And I'm not
Mhm.
going to succumb to the 3D. I'm going to understand the roles I played in my 3D, but then also at the same time be open to the possibilities. And for me, that looks like finding goddess spirituality. That looks like finding divinity. That looks like understanding my power. And also being practical, like being practical too. Like, hold on, I want certain results in my life. I'm going to do certain actions that are in alignment with me and
Mhm.
where I want to go.
Mhm.
So that's a long way to get to, you know, why I do what I do, because one, I see how so many people, we feel so stuck and so lost in these
Yeah.
moments. And it's sometimes when you're there, it's so hard to see how you can get out of there. But I
Mhm.
want people to remember that you are powerful. You have what it takes. And you're not being punished. You're completely worthy. You're completely deserving. But it's time that you wake up. You need to wake up into yourself again, into your power. And it's a power is not just all about what I have to do, it's also who I have to be. It's
Mhm.
who I have to
Mhm.
become. And I think the goddess energy really is that journey to being and resonating and vibration and energy that most people didn't get taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. And so I have like so much to say in regards to where you were, because I suffered from postpartum depression and I was actually like having suicidal thoughts. Like it was a very dark time in my life. And
Mhm.
I remember when I had to decide, like, okay, I have to heal. I have to really see what's going on here. And it was a transformational journey. Like I know what that feels like. It's like you never want to be in that situation ever again, and it was a lot of deep work. And I
Yeah.
want to talk about that deep work, especially in the maternal lineage.
Mhm.
So I know that, you have shared a little bit about your own, experience. How did you actually heal that in regards to the worthiness of your maternal lineage? Because I know a lot of women, especially Black women, have gone through so much. We
Yeah.
have had to be men and women, even when we didn't want to. How did you find that balance in that healing for your maternal lineage?
Right. I mean, I'm personally believe that feeling is healing.
Mm,
Feeling is healing, feeling is healing. And like I said, a lot of us we go through things and we have this automatic thing to kind of just like, all right, I need to survive right now. So I
yeah.
can't afford to feel all these emotions right now. I have to survive. I have to do what I have to do. So therefore I'm gonna shut all this off. And we end up getting stuck in this survival energy. And when we're in
Mhm.
survival energy, everything in front of you is the current representation of your vibration. So if we're in survival energy, there's always something that we need to fight. There's always something that we need to defend ourselves from. There's always something that we need to do because that's the vibration that we exist in. We don't give
Mhm.
ourselves the actual room and space to honor our emotions and to honor every single one of those feelings. So it's really about taking time out of your day, taking time out of your week to honor your lower vibration emotions. Like,
Mhm.
to not be afraid of them. When we're feeling anger, when we're feeling sadness, when we're feeling envy, when we're feeling jealousy, when we're feeling a lot of guilt, when we're feeling shame, instead
Mhm.
of like, I don't want to feel this right now, I'm going to numb this away. I'm going to kind of, watch TV. I'm going to, take some drugs. I'm going to get high, whatever the case is. You want to meet your emotions completely and like really allow them to move through you and not become them, but it's like move through them, almost like if you were wearing your emotions and they were like a shower kind of going through your body. They're not staying on you, but they're kind of going through you. And
Yeah.
for me, one of the biggest exercises that always helps me, because I personally had a moment where I actually got hypnotherapy and
Mhm.
I went into this like deep space. And for whatever reason, when I was asking questions about like worthiness and self-worth and, money stuff that came up at the time, I kept on having this image of this woman who was being attacked. She was being
Mm.
attacked. She had a kid in her arm and she was being attacked, and then she was raped, like, to be honest. And it was like really, really whole. It was, I was like, whoa, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And but then I realized, oh snap, it was like an understanding of this is my maternal lineage. And from there, I just knew like, oh, this sexual trauma passed down, passed down, passed down, passed down. It
Mhm.
was a
Mhm.
continuous trauma that was continuously happening, where this feeling of powerlessness, this feeling of lack, this feeling of scarcity continue, 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 continue. So when I went there, I actually healed that. I released that stuck energy from that woman in my lineage. And it was like, boom, I could feel like a bunch of women just celebrating. Like it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is insane. And then one of the exercises that I was introduced to by one of my teachers was to literally just go there, like close your eyes and almost see your mother in front of you
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
just seeing her happy, just seeing her overjoyed, just seeing her getting all the things that she wanted in life, just seeing her living her authentic life and her truth. And just because your mother, she is the human representation of your own divine feminine energy. She just is.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have issues with mom, we have issues with our feminine energy often. It's like hand in hand. So when
Mhm.
you visualize your mom liberated and happy, whether she's alive, whether she hurt you, whatever the case is, but you just see her happy and alive, and just it really does something not just for her but also for you. Everything is energy and frequency. So sometimes you got to see your mom just happy, and then you do that, you go back again, let's go another generation back, another generation back, another generation back, and do that same thing. Send them all love, send them all
Yeah.
gratitude, send them all liberation. And if you go in there and you feel any heaviness, address that heaviness and bring it to maybe the light energy, the rose energy, and that can settle and really heal like generational stuff. And then that's the energetics of it, and that's the emotional work of it. Now when it comes to real life and reality, take
Yeah.
time, know what's happening, like study your lineage, like kind of
Mhm.
know what things run in your lineage and your family, like study your mother, like what things did she go through, and notice if there's any patterns. Ask questions if you can, like, yeah mom, like what did you go through, like what was your life like, or your grandmother, ask those kind of questions for her. Like ask questions, see what's going on, see what patterns, because these are quite literally like your genetic makeup and blueprint.
Right.
So okay, this is okay, you kind of made these decisions, you kind of did this kind of disease and illness, dis-ease, runs in your family. All these
Mhm.
things have an energetic blueprint anyway, right? So you want to see that and say, all right, you did this, well I guess I'm gonna do the opposite. Like I guess I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this instead, right? And I'm gonna have a routine around honoring the high vibrational side of, that lineage, and healing those things and not making the same choices and decisions that they made, choosing consciously to evolve, right?
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that's what it looks like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, all of it does make sense because I remember I believe that was in Rich Goddess Club that you mentioned how important it was for like you to connect with your mother, to
Mhm.
forgive your mother. And I remember what that felt like. And as you were talking about seeing them happy, like that exercise actually personally helped me. Because a part of my postpartum was the fact that my mom had her own things going on, right? And then it was like passing down to me.
Mhm.
And it was just like I had to really heal that and to
Mhm.
forgive. And it makes things better, I would say, even for myself.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a matriarch, I see what that feels like. I'm able to understand it. So that exercise is very powerful to do.
It's life changing. It's
Mhm.
like to forgive and to send that loving energy. You're literally letting go of so much baggage because you want to be rich, you want to be like really abundant. Don't hold
Yeah.
on to a bunch of baggage. Actually, have room for the abundance to come in.
Mhm. Yes, and that's so important, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. They
Yeah,
kind of think of these practical external things like, "Oh, I gotta make sure I get the right job. I gotta make sure I get, in the right circles." And while those practical things can help, it can only take you so far.
absolutely. And it's like also sustaining and longevity too. Like
Mhm.
you can do the practical things and even get there, but sustaining and like having it last throughout time and generations upon generation, that happens with like the container. You have to have the energetic space to hold it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, most people, the reason why they're not where they want to be in life is because they don't feel like they deserve to be there.
Mhm.
Quite
Mhm.
literally. They just literally don't feel like they deserve to be there, that they don't feel like they belong in that space. They don't feel enough. And it affects you like mentally, and your mentality affects your actions. Because if you're like, well, what's the point of even trying? I'm not, whatever. You're not going to take the necessary actions to get to where you want to go and to do
Yeah.
things, put yourself out there. Um, so you have to change how you feel about you, how you view you, and sometimes self-love also looks like not doing the same things over and over again that don't get you to where you want to go. Like, I mean, let's be real. Like all the negative habits that we have to look at them and be like, hold on, like, is this, if I do this for the rest of like the next year, every single day I do this same thing, is this going to add up into something that is going to help me or not help me? You
Yeah.
know? Is these actions conducive to something healthy and long term and sustaining? If not,
Mhm.
it has to go. Like it has to go. If it's not elevating you, it has to go. And that means the things that you're doing, people that you have in your life, all
Mhm.
of it. Like, and sometimes it's not have to go forever, but sometimes you need space and you have to honor that. But in general, it comes down to worthy. Like, what do you feel worthy of? And one of the best ways that I've heard it phrased is like, how good are you willing to have it? Like, how
Mhm.
good are you willing to have every aspect of your life? And most of us, we're super good at complaining. We're super good at not having a lot. We're having a little and focusing on what we don't have and X, Y, and Z. But really, when you ask, like, what exactly do you want? Like, what is it that you truly, truly want? Like,
Mhm.
how much money do you really want to have and how and why? You
Yeah.
know, how do you want that money to come in? Do you want to be provided for? Do you want to make it? Do you want to, invest it? Do you want to just have it? Like, what do you want your life to really look like? And if you just take away, this is not possible for me, this is not true, whatever the case is, and you get to the soul desire,
Mhm. Mhm.
what does that look like for you? What do you want in love? What do you want in your overall life? And not focusing on, all right, I just hate this and I just hate that. Okay, we understand that. I just don't like not having enough and I just feel broke. I just feel this and the third. Okay, we understand that, but what do you want? Like, what do you
Hmm.
want? Like, after you get, let's say you get the money, what are you going to do with the money? Like, how are you actually going to spend it? You know, what are you going to do with it? How is this going to benefit you? How is this going to benefit others? Right? Everybody wants to have all these like, all right, I want to make $1 million a month. All right, what are you going to do with $1 million a month? Like, how is that going to
Yeah.
manifest for you in your life? You understand? Like,
Exactly. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. I want to touch on something you just said because I think that's something that I've personally been working on with enoughness. Right?
mm-hmm.
Like our society has always like put us in this masculine place of you're never going to be good enough. You should never be satisfied with like where you are. You know, you always got to climb. You always have to achieve. And that creates a sense of enoughness. What would you say to a young woman like about that enoughness and about that self-worth? Like what would you tell her in order to help her to just, I guess, be able to enjoy and love on herself? Because I think that's a problem. We don't love ourselves because we never feel enough.
Right. Let me breathe into that for a second.
Yeah.
Mm, I feel like feeling enough comes with and comes from consistently over time choosing to fill your own cup.
Mhm.
We lose a sense of enoughness when we do things that consistently deplete our cup and deplete our energy and to deplete our emotions because subconsciously we're telling ourselves we don't actually deserve to feel good. Most women subconsciously believe that feeling good is sinful, feeling good is not sustainable. It's
Mhm.
not something that I can rely on. So I'm not going to go there. But
Mm.
enoughness really comes from I'm going to consciously choose a life where my cup gets to be filled. So therefore, I'm going to honor my desires. If there's a want and a need, I'm not going to deny it. I'm going to see it clearly.
Mhm.
If I'm in a relationship and there's certain things that are not being fulfilled, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to figure it out. Like I'm going to actually honor those needs. If, I'm doing something that doesn't quite feel right, I'm going to figure out either A, how can I do it in a way that feels more good and feels more pleasurable, or maybe I need to choose something differently altogether. But enoughness comes from a place of consistently honoring your pleasure and honoring what makes you feel good and understanding that
Mhm.
you are worthy of feeling good. And then the second thing I get from that is looking at where you are giving yourself validation. Where is the
Mm.
source of your validation coming from? Is it consistently coming from if he's doing this for me, or if I'm getting this result, that means I must be enough? Maybe your validation needs to come from the divine. Maybe your
Yeah.
validation needs to come from understanding that, look, I'm here. Like, I'm here. I'm made of the same stuff of the stars, and I'm just worthy. Maybe your validation could come from your bloodline and your lineage. Maybe your validation can come from just being able to make yourself that magnet again, understanding that I'm the magnet. I
Mhm.
don't need anything. I'm already everything.
Yeah.
And understanding that on a very deep level, I think that's where enoughness comes from, if that makes sense. I think enoughness comes from choosing to make yourself the source again,
Mhm. Mhm.
plugging consistently into other people and to other things. I'm the source of my enoughness. And even if you just, almost like, what does that enoughness feel like in my body? Like, what does it actually feel like to have enoughness? And for me, I go straight to my belly. And then what does it feel like to breathe that all over and around my body and just breathe that all in my body and all in and just my energy? And I think that
Mm.
I'm the source of it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't need anything from anyone. I am the source of it. And then everything else is an overflowing. It's just like extras. It's like icing on the cake. Like, oh my God, he recognizes that I'm a goddess. That's so awesome. Me too. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. It's like, and that's the magnetism. It's
Mm-hmm.
how you feel about you. So you don't need anything. It's like, I think that's where you don't need anything. I don't need to feel anything that is already sourced within me. So find that little piece of it and just exasperate it, double that feeling, pull it all over your body and just feel that already within you. You are the source of your enoughness. If that makes
Yes, yes, that
sense.
is so powerful because I think, especially as women, we tend to take in this idea that we have to get external validation. Like, oh, society says this is what a good wife is, this is what a good mother is, this is what a good businesswoman is. It's all of these boxes and people pleasing that I think can really take over to where we feel like, oh my gosh, like what I'm doing isn't good enough for all these other people, but who cares what their standard is? What is
Right.
your standard for
Right.
yourself? What feels good for you? And I love that you brought it back to you being the source, not
Yeah.
anyone else. And even if they don't approve of what you feel is a standard, who cares? It's not
Exactly.
for them, it's for you.
Right. I feel like we only lose our sense of self when we start to get into over comparison mode. When we
Mhm.
kind of start to compare, well, she has that and I don't have that. Right? I think
Yeah.
that's the only time we start to lose enoughness. For example, and this is a kind of different way of answering that question. I just
Yeah,
got
yeah.
back from Dubai.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes, and I was walking around, and one of the things that I saw, like when I went to the mall there, it's so very luxurious, very gorgeous. These women were just different. And, you know, we think like, oh gosh, like in the US, we're like, okay, I need to, it's like my beauty is my biggest asset. I need to look good, and it's about the physical appearance. And, so you see that in society where a lot of women feel this pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way, and kind
Yeah.
of to like, there's a competition, a competitive energy between women and on the shadow level, because we're all kind of fighting to feel enough. When I was there, one of the things that was so healing to me was just walking around and seeing all these women. They were completely covered up, completely covered up. Some of them were showing their face, some of them weren't showing their face. And they had the world. They
Mm.
were spoiled. They are going Birkin bags and Hermes and Chanel and this, that, and the third. They're walking around with their friends and they're just like living life. And there's not this competitive energy and this, that, and the third. But there's also this energy of like, I get to have it. Like it's not even a thought process.
Yeah.
I really was like, where are they getting that from? Like, where are they getting this energy from? And when you have a just an inherent understanding that, you know, God said I'm worthy, like my family said I'm worthy, and you protect your energy and your source, and you realize that, look, I'm the source of everything. And this is just exactly what I get to have. You don't have to do much at all to get everything. When you find
Mm.
yourself in this consistent do, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do this, and now I'm gonna be enough. Now I'm gonna be enough. Instead of just like, actually, I'm enough. Like, I'm enough. I'm gonna carry myself as such. I'm gonna radiate this energy as such. And also, it's gonna show in my selectivity. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna give everybody access to me. Like, no one just gets to deserve to be in my energy if they're not giving to me in a certain kind of way. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold that standard for myself in everything that I do. I
Mhm.
understand that I am an asset.
Yeah,
As
of
I am an
course.
asset, I'm going to protect myself and my asset. I'm going to walk around like I'm an asset. I'm going to carry myself like an asset. I'm going to be selective with who gets access to me, my energy, and my space as an asset, because you only come to this place if you're adding to me.
Right, not taken away.
Not You're only coming to my space if you are adding to me. And I think women need to get the audacity to not have to say that, but to like let that show in their action and what they
Mhm.
allow in their life. Like, hold on. No, like if you're not adding to my life energetically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, you don't get to be there. If this activity isn't adding to my life energetically, spiritually, financially, and emotionally, it doesn't get to be there. If my circle, my friends, if it's not adding to me energetically, spiritually, emotionally, financially into my life, you don't get to be there. Like,
Mhm.
and when you do that enough, all that is left is you, your source, your energy. But so much we're holding on to things that are leaking our energy, leaking our energy, leaking our energy until we have nothing left.
Yep.
But from where I was like, "Oh, these girls are confident and living their lives and this, that, and the third, and they don't got to show anything. It's just
No.
them in their essence and in their vibration, and they know what they get to have."
Yeah.
I think more of us, we need to really, it's not like you're magnetic, but you also need to understand boundaries.
Mm.
Real boundaries, not boundaries that you have to communicate like, hey, you're always saying the same thing over and over again. Like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to be involved. You don't get to be in my life. Da, 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 da. You need to do this or you don't get to. It's just not there. It's just not there. It does not get to be there. These habits and these things do not get to be here. These people who are taking away from my life, they don't get to be here. How I spend
Mhm.
my money in a way that's not fruitful for me, it does not get to be here. It does not get to be here. What only gets to be here is things that elevate my energy and reflect
Right.
back my divinity. Period.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that. And I also am very happy that you mentioned like we don't have to go around telling everybody these things. It is in our essence and in our energy and the way that we move. And if you even think about communication, what gets understood most, 93% is the nonverbal. And when I
Yeah.
say that nonverbal, I'm also looking at the shadow aspect. What
Yeah.
is it that you see?
Yeah.
From I guess what's hidden, right? Looking at those things that are hidden, your energy will automatically repel
Yep.
people that don't fit that, you
I know.
know?
If you have to talk about it, like talk about your boundaries all day, you don't really believe you.
Mm-mm.
You don't
No.
really believe, you don't believe like you if you have to say it all the time, you don't believe you and people don't believe you because of that. And a lot of they're like, okay, what does that have to do with money? Money reflects self-worth. Money reflects
Yes.
self-value. And even like let's say you're a coach or let's say you're an influencer, let's say you're a healer or like somebody who's visible or something like that, people pick up on how you feel right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're channeling a certain vibration and frequency, people are very drawn to it. They're going to want to buy it all day long. But if you're
Yeah.
like, it's just kind of like, I'm trying to get these sales and I'm trying to get all this energy. I'm trying to get. It's like no one feels nourished in your presence. Why are they
Right.
buying from you? People are buying energy. So if you're a
Mhm.
business owner, if you're a coach, if you're a healer, if you're an employee, it's like people are always buying energy.
That's
How
it.
are you feeling? Like resent your boss low key and you're like consistently sending them like negative energy in your mind, of course you get fired. Of course
Mhm.
you don't get like things happening for you. Or, do you have a lot of like need? Because if you need, you don't have. So if I'm needing
Right.
sales, I'm needing money, I'm needing this, I'm needing that. you're not people don't want to buy into that because there's nothing to buy. Like,
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
nothing to buy. So I know it's like, oh my God, well, Jaelyn, what do I do? Like, what if I don't, like, if I'm not in that space? You got to put yourself there. You have to
Yeah.
project yourself there or reverse engineer it in some kind of way. Period.
Mhm.
That
Mm.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. Energy is everything. It is
Hmm.
all that we are, and that is what people want from us, and that even me being in, your courses and learning about, what you do, it's the energy. That's what
Yeah.
I always say, like, okay, like, who can I get around that has energy that I would want to emulate?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's how you get the money. That's how you bring things into your reality. And I also want to touch on something about money and the maybe the women that you saw in Dubai. It could have been either, their families were buying these things for them. They were able to buy them for themselves, or they were in relationships. And I want to touch on this because some people may not like this or whatever, but this is my standard. When it
Mhm.
comes to like my husband,
Yeah.
he's paying for everything.
Of
That
course.
is my essence. That is my essence as a woman, and he knew that coming in. You
Mhm.
know, how and I've said this to other women that are like, "You don't do 50-50?" No, because he can't do 50% of having this kid. Exactly. Like, how do we as women, because we are discussing money, we are discussing finances, and it is a big part of a relationship. How do we get women to see how important it is for them to be taken care of, for them to be secure? Like, what is it that we maybe can say to them or help them to see that?
The reason, well, I think it's understanding why they don't like it. It's not that they don't like
Mm,
it, they don't think that it's safe. Uh,
mm,
for a lot of reasons. Maybe they had experiences where they felt powerless. Maybe once again, their family line kind of stuff. Maybe they didn't have a dad in their life that was there and was present. There's a lot of reason why I am not going to put myself in a position where I could be provided for and taken care of, because what if it's all snatched away from me? But
mm,
that's what it goes into, once again, having a deep and sacred relationship, not just with your feminine energy, but also with the masculine. A lot of women, they're like, feminine energy, but still have a very deep disdain for masculine energy. And if that is present, you're not going to be able to receive at the level that you would be able to be if you were just fully open. Because
mhm,
if we're still like, I can't trust men, men aren't safe, masculine energy, and it's deeper. It's not even just like the physical man, it's also the metaphysical man. You know,
mhm,
there's a metaphysical goddess and there's a metaphysical God, right? So it's like, if we don't even trust that we can have faith that things are going to work out for us, because maybe we felt like, dang, I felt alone, I felt powerless. It's like, you're not going to make yourself available to that reality. As a matter of fact, you're going to convince yourself that that's actually not something you want at all. Like, that's dangerous,
right.
bad. You're gonna to make it more digestible, to hide that deep rage, to hide that deep sadness, we're gonna just make it seem like we don't want it.
Mhm,
So I think it comes down to one, understanding on the mental plane why you feel that way a lot of the times, like 9 times out of 10. And then from there, once you kind of get through that and see, oh, maybe I am hiding deep sadness. Maybe I am hiding deep fear. Maybe I am hiding deep, like, potential rage there. Breathe into it, work through
yeah,
it, feel it completely. It might get a little like cryy and yelly and all that kind of stuff within yourself. Get a goddess
right.
coach. But you work through those feelings, and then what you have is, once again, the desire. Get back into, I know what I don't want. I know what I'm afraid, like what I was afraid of, but like, what do I really want? If I could have it so good in my life, what would
Mhm,
I want that to look like? If Maybe your truth is, I want to be a full-on housewife. I don't have to worry about any bills and stuff like that. And it would be great to have my own savings and stuff. But at the same time, I just don't want to worry about all that kind of stuff. I want to just be able to do this aspect. And then maybe later I want to be a business owner, and that's okay too. You know,
Yeah.
maybe I want to do this and I want to do that. You got to think like, what, just get into your, I always look at it as finding the yes in the body. You know, just ask yourself things and just be open to feeling into what is true for you. And
Hmm.
when you resonate and kind of stay in the authentic truth, you'll attract it like bees to honey. You'll attract it like anything, because you're not hiding from yourself and your desires anymore. And
Right.
once again, masculine energy, healthy, divine, masculine energy empowers feminine energy like no other. If you don't
Hmm.
have any representations of healthy, divine, masculine energy, make yourself find it. Like, watch content online where you're hearing these messages from healthy masculine men. You know, put yourselves in environments, see if you can find someone who can pour into you and just uplift you as a woman. One of the other experiences I had when I was out in Dubai, I met one of my friends, and very divine masculine guy, and just like, you know, hearing the way that he just protects women, he understands on an underlying level the divinity in women, um,
Yeah.
is giving to not only like obviously a romantic partner, but also just his mom, you know, his sister, and just understanding like, no, women are supposed to be protected and honored and adored and ravished and nourished, and having that show in his actions, having that show, understanding what providers really look like even from his case, he's this man, he's a oh yeah, Senta millionaire. So
Okay.
$100 million type of energy. And he has a vision for his life. You know,
Hmm.
this is a provider energy where, you know, he looks on his phone, he sees that healthy relationship as the background. He sees the money that he wants. He sees everything. He was the kind of person that was like, look, I know exactly what I want. I want to create this healthy energy. He already knows how many kids he wants to have. He's like, look, I already put money aside for each and every one of my children and kids. I got
Amazing.
like multiple $1 million for each and every one of his children. I don't hang around people who treat their wives terribly. I'm surrounding myself with healthy energy. And it's like, once you get around like healthy masculine energy, you're just like, oh yeah, like you couldn't go backwards. Like, so
No, no.
go backwards. It's like, no. And it's like, it feels so good to just naturally receive from
Hmm.
everything and everyone. You have to be comfortable with receiving again. A lot of
Absolutely.
women, they are super good at giving and giving and giving. But babe, like you came here to receive, just like your actual biology. If you look at your vaginal space, you take things in, babes.
Right.
This is it's a representation of the metaphysical. So if you feel uncomfortable, if I compliment you and you kind of say something like, "Oh no, that's not true," or this and a third, no, take that in. Like,
Yeah.
actually let it penetrate your soul. Actually let it penetrate your being for a second. Like, no, you look gorgeous today. And don't try to reflect it back to me or anything like that. Really breathe that into your body, breathe that into your spirit. A lot
Mm.
of women, it's hard to breathe things in. Do you like, if that guy, I didn't even realize this is a thing, but apparently for a lot of these successful men, they sometimes could be on a dinner with someone and the person gets like mad that they pay. And I'm just like,
Oh, wow.
I'm like, um, are you serious? And then at the same time, too, if you want to be provided for and like, you know, provided for in every aspect, it's not just about the money, it's about the emotional, like being there for you emotionally, spiritually. Like you can really like depend on someone. You feel safe
Yeah.
and secure in their being, because all the money is a representation of the emotions that we want to feel. We want to feel safe. We want to feel free. We want to feel secure. We want to feel at peace. That's what money kind of gives us and brings us. So even if
Mhm.
that one of the sources for you is a man, okay, cool. Like he also wants something too. The divine masculine wants something too. And I think a lot of women, even today, we get into the space of, I'm going to be all feminine. I'm going to be all masculine in every aspect of my life. But you can pay the bill now. And it's like, no,
That's not how it works.
it's not gonna work. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be masculine here. I'm gonna try to control the relationship. Gonna try to control my life. I'm gonna try to control everything. I'm gonna do this and the third, and then I just want the guy to pay for something. No, like it also your energy can't. It needs to radiate in every way. Like we
Mhm.
need to feel your energy in every aspect, and then naturally you'll find that everything is paid for. Everything is paid for. No matter, it's like it don't even have to just be from one guy. It could be from anything. If there's
Yeah.
anything that you want, you will get it because you have a natural sense of understanding. I get to have what I want. I'm open to the possibilities. The universe is my provider. God is my
Exactly.
provider. So if it wants to come from my husband, it comes from my husband. If it wants to come from, a random thing that I just walk into on the street, it gets to come from there. Like I get to see it
Mhm.
on the floor. Whatever the case is, it gets to come from everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
For sure, for sure. And that's exactly how I feel like that is what abundance is when you have this trust
Yeah.
in God and in the goddess, knowing that they always take care of us. And
Yes.
however it shows up in our reality, it's ours. We get to have it. We are deserving of it. And I also had to learn, like, in my relationship, because my husband has always been like, he's a Taurus. So he has, and my father was a Taurus too.
I'm Taurus
And yeah,
moon.
oh yeah, yeah. And so they always had this very provider type energy, that I was able to receive from, but I also have a lot of masculine fire energy within, and so it would make me kind of like, oh, well, I can help you here. I can help you here. I can, and I found myself almost trying to compete, and it
Oh, hold
wasn't
on your
purposeful.
mic.
Oh, can you hear me?
I
Is it better now?
can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. Let's
Oh,
see.
I got you. I got you
Got
now.
me? Okay. I almost found myself trying to compete, not compete with him, but like trying to keep up with him in
Yeah.
terms of what he was like giving. Right. And I think a lot of women maybe try to do that because they want to make sure they're giving at the same level, but that's not how it works.
Your energy's giving.
Exactly. The energy, the essence of who I am is giving. Now there is such a balance, and I had to learn how to really receive and know that, like, I was really worthy of having whatever it was he was giving. Now I truly, I mean, I don't even touch my wallet. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Every time, like we went on a where did we go? We went on a steamboat like this past Saturday, and he just like whipped out his wallet for everything. Like I don't even, it's not even a thing. And even when we look at in our house and when we do stuff, like he does so much. The masculine has so much energy they
Yeah.
want to put out, but they can't put it out if you are not in your feminine receiving energy. And I kind of feel that way about money too. And I
Yeah.
don't, you were able to have that connect in your life as you elevated, as an entrepreneur. But the more feminine I became, the more money I made.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. You deal with the right masculine man. You don't even know your wallet exists. You forget wallets even exist. You're like, I don't even know what's happening. Like I said, if you don't feel like you're floating, you need to shift something in your energy. But I just like you said, like when you're in receiving mode, it's the other half of the coin. I do believe, like, look, I've been an influencer, I've been a YouTuber, I've been a content creator, I've been an entrepreneur for 13 years. Obviously, I had to do stuff. I
Yeah.
had to do stuff. I had to align myself. I had to show up consistently, even when it looking like, girl, ain't nobody coming to these videos. But what like motivates you, what pushes you is just understanding the juiciness of the moment. Like, if you're like the juice and like you're just loving everything and you're like, oh wow, this is just a part of the process, and you fall in love with the process, that
Mhm.
is receiving even the juiciness in every moment. Like, practice receiving the best out of every freaking moment, right? And receive, 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 receive. When I'm in receiving mode and I'm just like, yeah, I want this thing. This feels good. I always see desire as an indication of something's on its way, right? Like desire, if you look at the root word, it's of the Father, of the stars, of God. So that
Yeah.
means anything that I want, it's almost like I'm a magnet, and it kind of just and it dings in me, and then I'm just like, oh, it's coming, it's happening, it's here, cool, and I get excited about it, and then I asked my analytical brain, like, okay, what can I do to like make this a thing right now? Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I want to do? And then also I just get into the emotion of it. Like, what, it feels
Mm.
so good to have this thing. It feels so good to have this money in my life. It feels so good to be able to have this thing or whatever I want to buy or purchase or go or travel to. I just put myself in the space and really can nourish in it and ravish in just the feeling of feeling good and feeling just excited about everything. And when you can like just enter that space of deep surrender, deep receptivity, and just deep like, look, like my emotion and how I feel is the gift. Like, how feel
Yeah.
and my emotion is the gift right now. Whether I get this thing or not, even just like ravishing in the feeling of it all is super good for me.
Mhm.
And the things that you want, the money, all the things that you want to buy with the money, they come with ease from the path of least resistance. And you realize that, oh my God, I've been working so hard. You don't need to work hard. You don't need to do all that. It's
Yeah.
you're receiving, just like if you try to, like, let's say you try to give someone a gift and you really were thoughtful about the gift. Like, you were like, oh, this is going to be such a beautiful gift. And I can't wait to give this to them. Oh, it's going to be so great. And then you give that person the gift and they see it. And then they're just kind of like, oh no, but let me go do this, and I'll do this for you, and I'll reject it. And you're like, wait, can you receive it? Like, can you
Right.
like take in the gift? And you're like, wait, no, let me go, do some jumping jacks so now I can be worthy of it. And it's like, I was waiting for your excitement. I was
Mhm.
waiting for your excitement. I was waiting for your joy. I was waiting for your happiness. That was the thing I was waiting for. That's the same thing when it comes to money and all the things that you want. It's like God wants to give it to you and wants you to be happy about it and excited and just like really grateful and feel good about it. And then it's like, we're kind of just like, oh, wait, before I can receive this, let me make this harder. Like,
Mm.
make this difficult. Let me struggle a little bit more. Let me do all this stuff. And then God is kind of looking like, what are you
Huh?
doing? Like, why are you acting like that? Like, I'm trying to give something to you. I'm trying to give
Mm.
something to you. We need to get back into, oh, wow, me feeling the happiness and the joy and the excitement and the freedom and the security and the safety, all that. That's the gift. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
it is.
Receive deeply. It's a
Yeah.
it's God's pleasure, it's the goddess's pleasure for you to receive. Give yourself
Mhm.
permission to receive in every way. When somebody compliments you, when somebody gives you something, when somebody helps you, when somebody supports you, when a sale comes into your business, everything, just appreciate it and let it really sit in your spirit.
Absolutely. And gratitude is the highest vibrational frequency. And I don't think people know that. Like when you look on that scale, the Hertz scale, gratitude is up there. And if
Mhm.
you get into that energy, you have no other way to go but to get everything you want. Like
Everything,
it's
your heart's open.
exactly, exactly. And I think the more that we open ourselves up to the goodness and the
Mhm.
pleasure and the satisfaction, we
That's
find like Everything just comes to us.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah. Everything, all the pleasure. There's a difference between I look at like sacral chakra satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like, this thing really feels good. Like it just makes you, it almost turns you on. Like it almost makes you feel like electric and you're just like lit up all over your body. And it's just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this turns me on. Like, oh, it's so good. You know, that's I love sacral chakra pleasure. And then you have like that heart chakra feeling where it's just like deep gratitude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, when people start doing this, they're like, oh
Feels
my,
so good.
like there's it's a different feeling. And then if you're able to put those two together and you can
Mhm.
feel that sacral chakra turned on and excitement mixed with that deep heartfelt gratitude and peace and compassion, it's like,
Boom.
I always say, breathe into your heart, exhale from your womb. Breathe into your womb, exhale from your heart, and really, do that energetic practice of aligning those two together and feeling what it feels like to be deeply fulfilled, deeply nourished, deeply satisfied, deeply at peace with everything. All the small things. Like you want people to do more things for you. You want God to bring more things into your life. Appreciate everything. Just
Everything.
appreciate everything. Notice when something is getting a little bit better in your life, just a little bit. Notice when there's a little improvement in your finances. One of the best exercises that I was ever taught when it came to money, which completely shifted everything, it's so simple. Counting every single dollar that comes into my life every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. Like any dollar, any cent, any penny I find, any checks that I get, anything, the smallest things when somebody just does something for me. Like it could be like, oh, somebody took me out to dinner today, or somebody gave me $500 for a spa day, or whatever the case is. I add it all up every single day. And I'm telling you, that is such a quick way to put your mind back into abundance, because now your subconscious, your reticular activation system in your brain is now paying attention to the abundance instead of paying attention to the lack. And if you're therefore in a state of, wow, I am getting these things, and life is changing for me, then all of a sudden it's a lot easier to, all of a sudden you see money come in really quickly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that particular exercise. I think I started this in 2022. I call it like an abundance journal. And I literally like write down every little thing,
Everything.
everything. Like, even if it's like, oh, you have a $3 credit. Thank you. Like, I get excited about it as if it was like 3 million, because
Period.
the way to manifest it is all the same.
Yes, yes. Add everything up and make it a fun game. Just make it a
Mhm.
fun game to just add up all the good things every day, right? Add up every single good thing, add up every blessing, any little gift, any discount that you got,
Yes.
all of it. Just write it down every day, add that up. And I tell you what, it's like you'll just get into this abundant, optimistic state. And that is very magnetic to the money in general.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Well, Jaelyn, I am so happy we were able to get you on. And this was life-changing. Like, I really feel the frequency is going to go out and everyone is going to be able to receive this.
Ashe, may it multiply for every single person that watches this episode. May their bank accounts multiply, their happiness multiply. Ashe.
Shay,
Done.
thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, my love.